Today, we're looking at a blue ink by Herbin Eclat de Saphir. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, as always, there's timestamps down below so that if you're in a hurry, you can skip around. But if you got the time, check out the entire video. Also, if you're interested, you can follow me over on Instagram. And if you're new here, I would invite you to subscribe. I do a new ink review daily. In order to make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then inked up the Sailor My First pen with a medium fine nib. I wrote with it for a day, and then I took my notes for this video. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, as always, there's timestamps down below so that if you're in a hurry, you can skip around. But if you got the time, check out the entire video. Also, if you're interested, you can follow me over on Instagram. And if you're new here, I would invite you to subscribe. I do a new ink review daily. I picked this ink up in sample form, so it came in a vial like this. And to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen. It has spots of shading that do show up in that there's some lighter parts of letters. Look at the S of Sapphire. Extra fine is about the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen. It still has spots of shading that go on more in the form of there's some lighter areas in the darker writing. 4 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, the same spots of shading we got with the extra fine and the stub. 7 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both, far left to far right, do show a little bit of color variation, and that's about what we're getting in the writing. Tomoe River. No bleeding, normal Tomoe River ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, and 9 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 14 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show no color variation, and we're not getting any. And Rhodia. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is a little bit lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, some spots of shading in there, a little bit darker, a little bit lighter, not tremendous and huge jumping at you, but it's there. 5 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, still little bits of shading throughout the writing. Look at the word brown. 8 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both do show some color variation, and we get it in the writing. I agree with Vita. I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water. And what we see is this is not a straight blue. We see a very nice purple at the bottom, a very light purple. And it pushes its way up, and then we get a blue at the top. Now the one on the right that I let dry for 10 minutes, what we see is that purple is really starting to gather at the bottom of the filter paper, giving a hint like it's going to be resistant, but I'm not really expecting it. The rest of it pushes up, and then the blue is even more pronounced at the top. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page and how hard it may be to clean from your pen. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it's safe enough to use in a note-taking situation if you wanted to go back and highlight. I would call that up to you. There is a little bit of blurriness that comes in, but it's not too bad. I can still read everything that's there. Water is lifting all of the blue, but not the purple that we saw in the second chromatography. The purple from the second chromatography is still very much there and on the paper. Pen flush is completely breaking this ink up, showing the white of the paper coming through, meaning pen flush is the most that you should need to get this out of your pen. The 1/3 bleach solution that you should not need completely removes it from the paper. As far as viscosity or flow, for the inks I've tested, I've found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Herbin's Eclat de Saphir How about that one? I think I pronounced that one correct. Has a viscosity of 1.57, making this a very wet ink. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples. And for the inks I've tested, I found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with a realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Herbin Eclat de Saphir has an average dry time of 8 seconds, making it a very fast drying ink. Instead of finding inks that look like Herbin's Eclat de Saphir, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I went for a nice red, and I chose Noodler's Dragon's Napalm. The second writing sample is done on Northbooks, Field Notes, and Fabriano paper. Now here we're looking at Northbooks paper. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 2 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the stub. It has feathering, a lot of feathering, and it's strange that it occurred here, but it's not in a small area. The entire word of quick has a ton of little feathers, same with brown, same with fox, same with lazy, same with dog. A lot of feathering all over that writing, which was unusual. No spread, halo sheen, no shade, 3 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both, show no color variation, and we're not getting any. Field notes. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has feather, tiny feathering the entire way through, very noticeable in the J of the Herbin. Look at the E in Eclat, you see a lot of the feathering. No spread, halo sheen, no shade. Extra fine is the same tone as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 1 second to dry. Medium has the same kind of feathering going on in the stub. It's the same tone as the stub. No spread, halo sheen, no shade, 1 second to dry. Scrubby for both, show no color variation, and we didn't get any. Last up, Fabriano. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. Extra fine is the same tone as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 4 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 6 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show a tiny bit of color variation left to right, but it's not there in the writing. And that is all that I have for writing samples. So what do I think of Herbin's Eclat de Saphir? I believe that this performs really well. There is some color variation you get depending on the pen you choose. But to get your best experience with this ink, I found it really came through on your more premium papers. So what nib and pen will give the best writing experience? The medium fine sailor pen put down a nice lighter tone. It wasn't too light to be readable, but I think more people would enjoy this from a wetter pen to get the darker color on the page. If you've enjoyed this video, remember, I like thumbs up, you like thumbs up, everybody likes thumbs up. Unless you didn't like it, then give me the thumbs down. Both are good. Thanks for watching.